morning, everyone. This is Mayor Lioneld Jordan bringing you the segment of the Mayor's Corner. Today, we have the new airport director with us, Johnny Roscoe, and it's wonderful to have you on the show. And he's doing some wonderful things already down at the airport. He's going to share some of those short-range goals he's got and long-range goals he's got. Going to give us an overview of where we're going with the airport. Johnny, it's wonderful to have you. You might start today by giving folks a little background on who you are and where you've been.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to be here, and I'll tell you what, it's great to be here in the city of Fayetteville. It has been gracious and warm, and I've loved every day I've been here so far. I'm an Air Force veteran. I just recently retired from the United States Air Force after 26 years of service in June, and I retired out of Hawaii, so we're about 80 degrees warmer, maybe a little 60 every day. But you know what? It was a fantastic career. When I was young, I wanted to be a pilot. Went to the Air Force Academy, graduated in 1988, and then soon after I started my Air Force career, I realized that I was really part of something much bigger than myself. And so I made a career out of it. And, you know, I can tell you all about the places I've been and the things I've done and my history. However, I will say the greatest thing about being in the Air Force were the young men and women that I served with, and I will keep them close and remember them the rest of my days. So I'm an Air Force vet after 26 years, family along the way. I moved and been all around the world, and it was a great ride. But like I said, the people I worked with made it special for me.
Wow, that's great. So why would you want to be the airport director?
Yeah, it's a good question. As I was thinking about what do I want to do when I grow up, after my Air Force career, I was like, you know, what would I be best suited for? And I thought hard about it, and there were a couple things that I knew I wanted to do. I knew, because I was at a point, I already talked about how I loved working with people, is that I got to be in a job where I can work with people. I have to be part of something where I feel like I'm, you know, part of something bigger than myself, part of an organization that's going somewhere. And I have this love of aviation. So as I started looking about things and I was going to be able to fit well into, I thought, well, why not airport director? So I started looking around the country, and as I said, my family's here from Arkansas, is from Arkansas, and I was like, started looking around. I saw this position advertised, and I put a lot of thought to it. I go, you know what? That's probably a good fit for me. And so here I am, part of something bigger than myself, part of something working with people, and around my love for aviation.
Wow. So you might want to tell the folks what kind of airport we got down there. Tell us something.
Well, it's a great airport. And I realize I've only been here, you know, a short period of time, but I've learned so much.
Yeah.
Before I even came here, I started thinking about the airport. The truth is, and what the people of the city of Fayetteville need to know, it's their airport. It is a city-owned airport, and it is a self-sustaining airport. And what that means, the good citizens people, the good citizens of Fayetteville need to know, is that we don't tax them to run it. It is self-sustaining. We get our revenue from tenants, from fuel purchases, from the state, from an overall aviation pot of money, and then from the federal government for grants. And the money that we generate at the airport keeps it going. So we don't tax the people of the city of Fayetteville. But not every city in the country has an airport, and not every city in the airport has one like ours. Not every city in the country can say, hey, we have this airport that we call the, you know, really the doorway to the gateway of Northwest Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So long, rich history. 1926, Dr. Noah Drake, well, I know a lot of people here are familiar with him, professor of geology at the University of Arkansas, donated $3,500 to purchase the initial land that we had at the airport. 1936, the citizens of the people of Fayetteville approved a $20,000 fund to acquire more land. And really, the rest is history. It grew and developed. The original hangar that we built is still there. In fact, it's part of our aviation museum that's on the airport grounds, which is phenomenal. Please take your family there to go see it. Still the original hangar, still the original woodwork. It's a phenomenal building. But we were a commercial aviation airport for pretty much its entire life, up till 1999. And then when the need for the Northwest Regional Airport developed and that came online, we transferred over to a general aviation airport. So for the last 15 years, we've been making that transformation, and we've come to a really good spot now. And what that means is the majority of all of our traffic is small commuter type, small type traffic or privately owned aircraft that have 30 seats or less. We have tenants. However, and this is an important distinction to make, we maintain a Part 139 certification, which means that we still say qualified to accept aircraft that are larger than 30 seats in capacity. So that's how we are able to fly and proudly fly, you know, the Razorbacks and all the sporting teams in and out. We bring charters in and out. So we have to do some certain things to maintain, to make sure we keep that certification, to maintain what's called a Part 139 certification. And that's where we are. You know, Mayor, it's been a long, rich history. I'm excited to be here and continue that history. Like I said, you know, where are we now and where are we going? And now I'm a part of that, which is I'm just another person in the long, you know, the long stepping stone of the history of the airport, and hopefully I can make a difference with the team.
I'm sure you will. Now let's talk a little bit about that. Let's talk a little bit about short-term goals. What would be some of your short-term goals that you immediately want to start to work on?
Yeah, and I think, you know, I can probably, I'll be frankful, you know, going to my military background and my perspective and being around airfields really my entire life, I thought about, you know, safety and security. You know, when you go into some organization, you want to make sure the job's getting done, but it's getting done right and it's getting done safely. Now that runway is really part of a national system of runways. So we, the city, you, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the people here have to ensure that that airfield stays open for the use of the federal government if they need it. It's part of a national system of runways. So in that respect, I see as one of my big priorities is ensuring that our runway and our apron and all of our taxiways are open and operable when we tell the FAA that it's going to be. And access to that area, we got to make sure that's a secure environment for people who are aviators, transient, corporate, you know, leaders who may come in, our team and that it's safe. So safety and security, I would say, is up there. The other part of that, as I mentioned before, is our Part 139 certification. There are a few things that we need to do to make sure we maintain that certification, and we're inspected annually for that. And we'll have one in the spring. So I want to make sure, and I came at the perfect time, you know, everything's been going great. Mr. Ray Boudreau just retired out of there and did a fantastic job picking up where he left off, working with the staff and the city and the council and the airport board to make sure we're ready for that inspection in the spring. And in the final part, I owe it to you and the rest of the people in the city to make sure that funding stream, part of that thing that makes us viable and long-lasting, which are our grant assurances and our funding, is it makes sure that we're doing everything right and we're compliant to make sure that we're going to continue to get that funding for the airport. Those are my short-term goals, which I figure that's a lot for me to get my hand around right away, but it's probably a step in the right direction. And as I'm going through that, I'm learning a lot, and I think you know, I think the team, the airport, the city, I think we got a good chance here to really give us some strong direction on that long term, where do we want to go, start if we take care of some of those initial things.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your long-term
Okay.
goals. So what do you see for the future long-term for this airport?
That's a great question, and I don't have the solid answer, and I can't give you that myself because I'm really going to look to the city, I'm going to look to the airport board, I'm going to look to our tenants and the general aviation community. I've got some ideas, and I want to work with the marketing team. We'd like to see what our customers like. I want to get your vision and the council's vision on where it needs to go to. I want to throw out there first. Me, as I alluded to earlier, we are the gateway to Northwest Arkansas. Me personally, I'd like to, within a couple of years, say we are the best regional general aviation airport in the state of Arkansas. And in 10 or 20 years from now, say we are the best regional airport in the country. But what does that mean? You know, what does the best mean? You know, we have a high standard of excellence. We have a quality team, an energized team. You know, a team that's well trained, that works well with its corporate leaders and with the city, and that will be transparent because when people show up and on the doorstep of Fayetteville and the rest of the Northwest, they're going to think they're in just one of the most perfect places in the world, and they're going to get that initial impression because the airport is that solid. That's kind of where I want to go, but what's our brand is to get to the point. Who are we? You know, what do we want? Who do we want to appeal to? You know, I would love for people from all over the state, all over the country, to say, let's go to Fayetteville, because it's not far from the Buffalo River. It's not far from, the Ozarks. You know, it's a great place to go get outdoors. But I want to determine that and figure that out with you, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of the team. What is it that we want the people of the rest of the state, the rest of the country, to come here and really, really want to come here and fly into our airport to have that? So.
No, that's great. That's great. Well, you've been in our city a little while.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you love about the city?
Oh yeah. One of the things I have to say is, as I mentioned earlier, I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I grew up in a very small town in the coal region. in the Appalachians. And when you drive in Northwest Arkansas, or when I did, I was stationed here a long time ago for 4 years. And I remember always calling home and telling my mom and dad, I said, this is just like I'm home. I go, you know, we have 4 seasons, and there's rolling hills, and there's creeks and lakes, and what I'm used to growing up with. So I fell in love with it from the natural perspective. So I'm there, especially in Northwest Arkansas. So that's that. And the city from day one, I didn't know what to expect because I came from a very rigid, structured environment being in the military. And I didn't know what to expect, but I was very well pleased to come in and say, all right, the city really is well organized. The city really does have a vision. The city really does have a great group of people. And that's one of the things I want you to know is that I've been impressed with the employees of the city of Fayetteville. The ones that I've met truly do whatever they can to make sure the citizens of the city are served well. I mean, it's a thought, it's a concept that's out there. You can see it in what everybody's doing, and it's a great feeling. And like I said earlier, I love being a part of something like that. So I'm happy to be here. And I'm just, you know, just to put a bow on it, I'm happy to be in a thriving city that has a great future with a great airport, you know, and really, it's really unlimited. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I'm an optimist. So I would love to do whatever I could do in my capacity with the rest of my team at the airport to help you, the council, and the city, you know, be a part of that and take us to that long-term vision that you've got.
Great, great. So is there any final comments you want to make to the people out there before we close today?
I would just say thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the welcome. Thanks to the people of Fayetteville for making me feel at home. I'm looking forward to laying down some solid roots here, and I hope soon that I can meet more and more of the city, and it's just been phenomenal. So I would just like to say thank you, and I look forward to working with everybody.
Wonderful. And if they need to contact you, what is your contact numbers or email address?
You can call the airport at 479-417-7642, or J. Roscoe at it's Arkansas dash. What is it? It's Arkansas.
No, it's
Fayetteville. Fayetteville-ar.gov is what it is. Sorry, folks.
At Fayetteville.
So at Fayetteville-ar.gov. And you can also get on our website. That's probably the best way to go. We've got a website, and all our contact numbers are there, including our FBO. Oh, if I don't, we do. I wanted to mention that, and I should have. A couple years ago, we took over the FBO. Which is a fixed base operator, and they're the people that do, you know, they're our line guys that run all of our transients through, refuel, and launch our airplanes, recover them, and that has been a great decision for the airport and the city. It's doing very well, and I'm excited to see where we're going to go with them. But if people need to get a hold of me, go to the website, look up Drake Field, Fayetteville Executive Airport, and get a hold of us. Can I make one more comment?
Sure.
If you make a reservation to fly out of Northwest Arkansas, don't come to the airport at Drake. It's a problem, actually, Mr. Mayor. We're trying to work with Kelly Johnson up at Northwest Arkansas, as well as other folks, in that when people print out a ticket, it says they're leaving out of Fayetteville. And there's a long history and problem with that, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of it, but we actually do have people show up and say, hey, they're here to catch a flight out of Northwest Arkansas, and they're at our airport, and they're 50 minutes away. So check your ticket. Make sure you're flying out of the right airport. But thanks for having me on the show today. I appreciate it.
It's great to have you here today, John.
Thank you.
Now, folks, as you've heard, that there's a real vision for the airport, Fayetteville Airport, and I really appreciate John being on the show today. And if I would ask you to go down, look at our airport, look at the Air Museum we've got down there. Take your family down there. Tour the airport, the Air Museum. It's a great place. That hangar, I think, was built in 1948. And it's a great place to go and take your family. So, folks, until I see you again, I want you to have a really great day, and I'll see you real soon.